recognition to marital rape. The Apex Court said that the meaning of rape must include the meaning of marital rape under the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act and rules for the purposes of abortion. The top court order says that women don't need permission from third party for abortion and adds that several women may also be victims as they may have become pregnant due to non-consensual sex. Supreme Court ruled out that all women irrespective, the Supreme Court in fact ruled that all women irrespective of married or unmarried are entitled to seek abortion up to 24 weeks of pregnancy.
The issue of marital rape is grey law. The law is really unclear on it as of today. But the court goes ahead and says that from an abusive marriage, a woman may not want to bear a child. And it is for her to decide if she wants to continue with this pregnancy or not. So for women especially, I mean, the most notable part of this judgment today is that this is entirely right-based. They've given you a rights perspective rather than administrative or a medical perspective.
All the women are at the same pedestal, at the same footing, and there is no discrimination between them now. If any woman wants to terminate their pregnancy up to 20 weeks without their discrimination, they can go. Not only this, if any unmarried woman also wants to terminate their pregnancy up to 24 weeks without any spousal consent, without any restrictions, she can go. No one will question why you are going to terminate. Earlier, there is a rule in 2021 which was made, and that was confined only to married women.
So this judgment is important on two fronts. First, it says that all women, married or unmarried, have the right to safe and legal abortion. And the second is what it says on marital rape. Now, to discuss the implications of this significant ruling, a very significant ruling, we are joined this afternoon by Rekha Aggarwal, an advocate at the Supreme Court, also Khadijah Faruqui, an activist, joining us. Thanks very much, ma'am, for joining us this afternoon on Mirror Now. Rekha Aggarwal, to you first. Let's talk about what the judgment first says on marital rape. The court says that the rape must include marital rape for the purposes of Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act and rules. This is the first legal recognition of marital rape. Now, this is an issue where so far, the concept of consent, the women's right to say no, has not been recognized for various reasons. For culture, tradition is cited, family structure is cited, the institution of marriage, etc. Now, finally, a step in the right direction.
I think it's a landmark judgment. It's a very, very big, it's going to be a watershed, in fact, as far as women's rights are concerned. Though, of course, I'm a little, myself in the dark, because the law regarding marital rape, as the earlier speaker also said, that as far as rape is concerned, Section 376 does not include, 376 IPC does not include the concept of marital rape. So now the fact that a woman who is in an abusive marriage, and if she gets pregnant, the sexual activity with her husband may not have been consensual, and it would technically amount to rape. Now, in such cases, the woman does have a right to go and get the child aborted because she's not happy with the fact that she's conceived the child, and since she's got a right on the body, she doesn't have to take anybody's consent. So, to that extent, yes, it's a very, very big order. But now, only I'm a little worried, a little skeptical, to be honest, over here. That though, of course, as far as MTP laws are concerned, it gives women an edge over abusive husbands, and they can go and terminate the pregnancy if they want. But will that also be used as an admission of marital rape by a husband? Should marital rape become an offense under Section 376 of the Indian Penal Code? That will have to be seen. But be that as it may, as of today, speaking for the, let us just celebrate the moment today.
Yes.
And I do think that it is a very big right that has been given to women. It recognizes women, as in their own capacity of being a woman, not just a wife or a daughter or a sister. So a woman has got a right on her body, irrespective of the fact. She's got an absolute right. There are no riders to that. Her rider is not her body. The right over her body is not subject to her husband deciding, whether she should carry the child or not. Though, of course, speaking in a neutral, gender neutral manner, which I would like to speak, that I hope that this absolute right which has been given to women today should not also be abused by women, by wives, later on to go and terminate the pregnancies as and when they want, because just as a woman has a right on her body and a wife has a right, to lead a happy married life, at the same time, a husband also has got his rights. If he's also entitled to the joys of becoming a father. So let us hope that women do not abuse this right that's been given by the Honorable Supreme Court today. And a husband who wants to become a father, who also has a right to become a father under the law.
Yes.
That right should not be taken away. So we must draw a balance, and I hope that women do not abuse this right which has been given to them today. This right should not be abused.
Yes,
it should not be
Rekha
taken
Aggarwal,
as a carte
important
blanche
points.
power in their hands.
Yes. All right. Yes, important points there. We'll talk about the abuse of law and the potential of abuse over there in a bit of detail. But first, Khadijah Faruqui, the court has said that married women may also form part of survivors of sexual assault or rape. A woman may become pregnant due to non-consensual sex, non-consensual act by the husband. Sex and gender-based violence in all its form has been part of families. So this recognition has been long time coming. Marriage should not be a license to rape.
I'm so happy, as my learned co-partner said, that Supreme Court has come down with a very progressive, very positive judgment. And as far as marital rape and married women who have been in abusive marriage getting the right of abortion, I, being a caseworker all along my life, I have seen there are so many marriages which are abusive, and women face a lot of consequences due to abusive marriages and abusive husbands. As she said that she's fearful of misuse of this right, I'm sorry to say, but this whole world are always very fearful of women's right, but doesn't make any difference. I know that if somebody does misuse anything, there is a court of law, there is a process of law, and process of law is so strong and clear and stringent that it's very, very difficult to get justice for a person who is a victim. So for misusing a law, also it is very difficult. So it's not like I don't feel any fear of misuse, because my system is so strong, so stringent, that misuse doesn't happen much. It might be that somebody will be going to court, or that those things can happen, but I know there will be no injustice. Things were long awaited, and it's been very grateful to the Supreme Court that they came down. And when the rules were made, we all were in very distress. But thankfully, our last hope and last confidence-giving source is still alive towards women's rights.
Yes.
And we are very happy. And we know that women rarely misuse things. But obviously, any law can be misused. So that's not a things to be denied.
Yes.
We should not focus today on misuse idea. We should focus on celebrating that Supreme Court has come down very clearly. And the other thing which I feel very happy is that, the so-called so developed countries are going the reverse way. And we have gone the other way and recognize the women's bodily integrity, rights to their body.
So important step forward there. Yes, Khadijah Faruqui. Yes. Yes, yes, got that. Rekha Aggarwal, you know, there have been arguments made by politicians, by lawmakers, that the recognition of marital rape as an offense would disturb the institution of marriage. Now, my question is such a marriage, an abusive marriage, worth preserving at all? I mean, law should be ahead of social prejudices.
Yes, so that, as I said in the beginning, first of all, though no doubt, I am also celebrating the fact, being a woman myself and as a lawyer myself, that yes, the court has, it's a very big, a watershed as far as women's rights are concerned. But the fact is that, marital rape itself needs to be recognized as an offense, as many progressive countries have done. So until we, first of all, I wish the Honorable Court, Supreme Court would also now that it is working on this direction, and I'm happy that the first time the words marital rape, quote unquote, have been given a legal recognition. Up till now, despite the fact that after the Nirbhaya, verdict, there was the Justice Verma committee which had made landmark reforms as far as the definition of rape is concerned, and
Yes.
has made it a very wide, wide definition of the term rape. It is not the typical act of rape that one would have considered as what amounts to rape. Any kind of penetrative assault on a woman is now considered as rape. It may even be a penetration with a pencil or with any foreign object. That will also be considered as rape. But having said that, the Justice Verma committee, despite the recommendations of many women activists, was not able to include the term marital rape as an offense. So I think that now this judgment of today is now going to be a step in the right direction, and it will not be a day, it will not be a very long day when we see that the term marital rape has also been included as an offense under Section 376 IPC. Because now this is in fact only giving, if I may say so, only 50% justice, because a marital rape may occur, but what if the woman does not become pregnant? That means that she will suffer the marital rape.
Yes,
But
yes.
since she has not become pregnant, she cannot make a
So there's
complaint
still
about
a long way to
She
go
can
there.
only make a complaint if she becomes pregnant. So I think
Yes.
that it's high time that we recognize marital rape itself as an offense. So that will be giving complete justice to women.
Well, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear that, and that case is in Supreme Court. We hope that happens eventually. Let's see how it goes in the court. But Khadijah Faruqui, how difficult is it for women to speak up against marital rape? You've been working in this area for so long, because there are multiple challenges here as I see it. First, it is not recognized by law. Then there are societal pressures, that you are married, he's your husband, why are you complaining? And then perhaps the woman's first instinct itself is to save the marriage.
See, I'll tell you one thing out of my experience, what I understood, that the whole marriage itself and the whole society, as the learned lady said, that society considered the marriage as sacrosanct. So breaking any sacrosanct thing, howsoever unlawful it happens, it becomes, is a very difficult thing. And we women also come from the same society. We are not from anywhere from Mars or Jupiter, so that we don't have that kind of feeling. So patriarchy is equivalently present among women as it is present among men. So for women to take a decision to file a complaint against the husband, there have been a lot of, I being trainers, there have been a lot of trainings and workshops where we do ask these questions to married women, that out of how many married women have had unconsensual sex or her husband has forced sex on them. Majority of married women have once or twice or once upon a time, they have faced this kind of situation. So like say, for example, marital rape, if a woman is going through an abusive marriage, a husband is not caring, loving, or not compatible, and then he forces sex, normally women don't find it comfortable and they react to it and retaliate to it. Still, in the law, there are provisions which we are using, but it's been very nice to hear that a Supreme Court judge is talking about marital rape. So hopefully, I still remember the day and the time when this Criminal Law Amendment Act was being discussed into the Parliament, and I could still remember the kind of force Even women parliamentarians were putting that no, husband should be kept out of the rape thing, because the marriage is very pious and no question of rape occurs into the marriage. But still, you know that in the Criminal Law Amendment Act, in the 376, there has been a small rider given that if the woman is living separate from her husband under any legal circumstances, then husband's rape also considers that. So there are issues, and these issues are not exactly legal issues. They have to be handled by the society. And what the Supreme Court has done today,
Yes.
this is a reflection of the society which has started thinking positive. So I also hope that very soon,
Yes.
the case is already in front of the Supreme Court. Very soon there will be a deliberation on the issue, and marital rape will become a
Right.
legality and legal law. And but still, women who are facing
Yes.
abuse, they have legal recourse in PWDVA Act 2005, and they even have legal recourse. They have, but directly they don't have. So it has to come. See, we have to call a spade a
Yes.
spade. So it has to come
All right.
clearly. And I
Yes.
feel that marriages has to
Yes.
be a partnership-based relationship rather than a sacrosanct relationship of a ruler and a slave kind of thing. Which
Yes, I in fact don't understand what is
marriage
so sacrosanct in an abusive marriage. So that's a question I just don't understand.
Yes.
Rekha Aggarwal, the constant argument that has made against a law criminalizing marital rape is the lack of evidence. How do you prove? Is it based merely on testimony? Where do you come in on that?
Yes, of course. Those are the challenges that we face, and that is why probably the Supreme Court as well as the lawmakers have not been able to include marital rape. And that is, I mean, had it been so easy, then the Justice Verma Committee in 2013, they would have definitely recommended marital rape to be included as an offense under Section 376 IPC. As of now, it is an offense by a husband only if he and his wife are living separately. But what about those forced sexual activity on a wife by her husband, who's constantly being abused, physically and mentally abused? And it may not be just a case of physical abuse. It can even be a case of mental abuse, and where the wife just doesn't want to have any physical relationship with her husband. So what does one do in those cases? How does one decide that whether because even cohabitation at the same time, where
There
we
are
have
other countries which have criminalized spousal rape. How do they go about proving such cases, ma'am?
Yes, it becomes difficult. It becomes because, as I said, that cohabitation is also a right that a man has. Even a husband has got the right to cohabit with his wife. On the other hand, a wife also has the right to say no if the husband, is not giving her the physical and emotional comfort, which is a prerequisite for having sex with your husband. So the evidence becomes very, very difficult. It is going to be it was going to be based totally upon the testimony given by the wife that, oh, my husband raped me. Now, it is going to be based on circumstantial evidence, because all this activity is definitely going to be happening behind closed doors. It cannot be in open or in public. So the wife will have to be very, very certain before she makes such a charge of marital rape against her husband. It is, of course, the husband also under the Constitution has got equal rights to defend his reputation. It is going to be a big stigma on any husband if a wife accuses him of marital rape. So it is going to be the husband also has the right to defend himself. But yes, I do see that it is a very difficult proposition to prove marital rape, and it all depends upon circumstantial evidence and upon the testimony of only the two partners concerned, the husband and the wife. There cannot be a third person witness to this. It will be a very rare case where a third person also comes and gives evidence that, yes, I saw this man raping his wife. So, unless unless such a thing has been recorded, and now we have, recourse to IT technology, there can be a voyeuristic husband, who is kind of even, being a lawyer, we come across such cases where husbands also record such things thanks to all these smartphones that we have. So some men may get a pleasure out of recording such kind of illegal activities. All those things may come in helpful for a woman to prove that she has been raped by her husband. So that is going to be a very, very long way before a wife can actually get her husband convicted under marital rape. First of all, let it be.
All right, so it's a long way. Yes, Rekha Aggarwal, it's a long way, but at least the first step has been taken. So that's good news as far as that is concerned. Thank you, Rekha Aggarwal and Khadijah Faruqui, for sharing your perspective on this rather important landmark judgment by the Supreme Court. Thanks very much for joining us indeed.